Stop doing 3 sets of 12 reps. Following this rep scheme is probably why you're stuck and not making any progress in the gym. So when I first got into fitness at the age of around 14 or 15, the first thing I did was I went on YouTube, I went on Google, and I searched up workout program. And the website that I landed on was a website called bodybuilding.com, which was super popular at the time. And now inside of that website, they were giving away free workout programs. And although it was great just to get some general information about how to create a workout program, it was very generalized and very cookie cutter. Chest day, back day, shoulder day, just really bro sciencey. And one thing that I noticed right away is that they were giving away specific rep and set schemes. So for example, instead of giving you a range of reps to kind of work within, for example, 10 to 15 reps, 10 to 20 reps, 5 to 10 reps, or whatever, they gave you a specific rep target to hit. For example, here, 3 sets of 12 reps, or 4 sets of 8 reps, or 5 sets of 5 reps. And basically, the problem here is that it almost puts you in this bucket where, especially when you first get into fitness, like I didn't know any better. I would just listen to whatever people told me, whatever I found on the internet, I would just kind of follow. But it kind of put me in this bucket where if I went over the rep range or under the rep range, I thought that I was doing something wrong, where I had to do 3 sets of 12 reps, or I had to do 4 sets of 8 reps, or I had to do whatever the program told me to do. But by putting myself in this bucket, it did not allow me to make as much progress as I could have made had I had a rep range to kind of work within. And that is why we give our clients a rep range as opposed to a predetermined rep target to hit every single workout. So stopping at 12 reps, even if you can do more, is a big problem, right? Because let's say I tell you to do 3 sets of 12 reps, but given the weight that you use for that exercise, you could have done 13 reps, 14 reps, or 15 reps. Well, now you're leaving a lot of reps left in the tank and you're not going to be milking out as much as you could from that set. And so instead of following a specific rep target, it's far better to put yourself in a rep range and then work within that and go as close to failure as you can. So typically speaking, when it comes to hypertrophy, aka muscle building, hypertrophy is just a fancy word for muscle building, the rep range is actually a lot broader than we had once anticipated. I always thought it used to be like 8 to 12 reps is like the muscle building zone, and 100% it is within the zone, but it's actually been shown that the rep range is a lot broader than that. It actually starts from as little as 5 reps up to 30 reps, which is a massive rep range zone. And so as long as you're within this rep range zone of 5 to 30 reps, you are within the muscle building zone. So do not put yourself in this pre-selected bucket of, oh, I can only do 10 reps on this exercise. I can only do 12 reps, only 15, only 8, whatever it may be, because this allows you to not make as much progress as you could. So instead of doing that, put yourself in a rep range. So for most compound lifts, exercises that utilize multiple muscle groups in one lift, so for example, the bench press, the deadlift, the squat. This is one single exercise, but it requires you to use multiple muscle groups, right? For example, the bench press primarily targets your chest, but it also targets some of your front delt and then also some of your tricep. The squat primarily targets your quads, but it also does a bit of your glutes, tiny little bit of your hamstrings, and a teeny tiny bit of your calves as well. The deadlifts, great, just entire posterior chain exercise, mainly target your back, but it also hits your traps, your rhomboids, your hamstrings, your calves. So with most of those bigger compound exercises, it's recommended to go lower in reps, typically around 5 to 10 reps, just so you can use the most amount of weight. Whereas with some of the isolation exercises, like you can see here, I'm doing the bicep curl or like a tricep extensions or like a lateral raise, just any exercise that only involves one muscle group, which is an isolation exercise. There it's recommended to go a bit lighter in weights, higher in reps, just so you can really like use proper form, proper technique, and really get that mind-muscle connection going. Because trying to do 5 reps on a bicep curl, like sure you could do it, but you're probably going to be using a lot of momentum, a lot of swinging, all these things, and you probably will not really be able to like really utilize that mind-muscle connection. So for the isolation lifts, it's generally recommended to go a bit higher in reps, lighter in weights, and have the rep range be within like, let's say, instead of 5 to 10, maybe more so like 10 to 20 or even 20 to 30 as well. So instead of doing 3 sets of 12 reps, maybe now put yourself in this bucket of 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps or 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. And this allows you to make a lot more progress. But the biggest thing that I really want you to take away from this video is it doesn't matter how many reps you do, but you have to make sure that you go close to failure. In order for a single set to be called productive, you want to go as close to failure as you can. Generally speaking, 3 reps in reserve, so leaving around 3 reps left in the tank, will be considered a productive set. Anything less than 3 reps shy of failure, so if you do like 4 reps shy of failure, 5 reps shy of failure, you're not going to be going going close enough to failure to like really like maximize muscle growth. 3 reps in reserve all the way up to 2, 1, even like 0 reps in reserve, going to true all-out failure is recommended. Now keep in mind that's the closer to failure you go, the more fatiguing that single set would be. So the less sets on average you'll be able to do. Whereas if you do around 1 or 2 reps shy of failure, it allows you to not only make that set super productive, it also allows you to do more sets because it's not going to be as fatiguing compared to a set you do to true all-out failure, for example. And it also enables progressive overload because now by putting yourself in this rep range, it makes it a lot easier to not only track your progress, but then also to implement progressive overload from there. So let's say you did 3 sets of 12 reps last week. Well, now what you can do is you can keep the exact same weights. Let's say you used 100 pounds. Next week, still use 100 pounds, but now do 3 sets of 13 reps, for example. Just add an extra rep on top of that. And then the following week, maybe try to do 14 reps and then 15 reps. And then once you hit the top of the rep range, what you can do now is you can actually bump up the weight, which naturally speaking, whenever you bump up the weight, your reps will naturally decrease because it's going to be a lot harder to actually do that, right? So now your reps may drop off to 12 reps again, and now you can work your way up again. This is what we call double progression. So first of all, you want to predetermine your weight, find your rep range, and then with that predetermined weight and within that rep range, you just want to focus on progressing from there. So using the same amount of weight, go up in reps every single week until you hit the top of the rep range, then add more weight, your reps will naturally drop off and then work your way up again. That's what we call double progression, and that is one of the most common ways to progress in a gym. And this allows you to make progress every single week instead of just staying in this arbitrary rep bucket of 12 reps, 10 reps, 15 reps, whatever. So the key takeaway here is quality over quantity. Smart rep ranges will always be forcing fixed numbers. Hopefully this video made sense to you guys. If you guys do have any other questions for me, as always, please let me know and I'll see you all soon. Peace.